Hi, I'm Mike Bechtel. What do you do when the future's coming at you faster than you expected?
And I'm Amelia Dunlop, and welcome to Human After All.
So, Amelia, what do you do when the future comes in hot?
I mean, you're going to ask me, like I'm supposed to know the answer to that?
I mean, you're the behaviorist. By the way, what is a behaviorist?
That's a good question. Okay, so I am the Chief Experience Officer. You know that for Deloitte Digital. But I mean, essentially, it means I get to wake up every day and help make experiences just a little bit better for the people, the humans that we might call customers or employees. And then I'd say my background is I'm one of the very few strategy theologians you may ever meet, and that I have degrees both in moral theology and I have my MBA.
So, like TLDR, you're full of thinky thoughts all the time on all the things.
I mean, I like to think that like engaging with like life's meaning and purpose is a good way to spend your time.
Do you ever think about the future?
I think, yes. I mean, obviously, we think about the future all the time, but I'm not a chief futurist. Like, so what is that?
What's that? Chief futurist is sort of a fun title too, right? Because people either lean in like, oh, that's going to be interesting, or they lean back like, I do believe he's full of baloney.
Yes, I could imagine get that.
Yeah, it's bimodal. There's no neutrality.
Like when you introduce yourself, you get like equal parts eye roll and like.
That's right.
Yeah.
And excitement. But in truth, what do? We make sense of what's new and next in tech.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we do it? I think, a lot of it comes down to seeing where we've been,
mm-hmm.
so as to make sense of all the, novelty in the world. I was an inventor for a number of years, patents and the whole 9 yards,
mm-hmm.
lab coats, soldering guns. Then I was a VC. I was an investor. And that taught me the difference between the art of the possible and the art of the profitable.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we got into my stint as a professor and working at a national not-for-profit. And that's all to say, I suppose we're kindred in that we're both taking multiple lenses into all this newfangledness.
Okay, but can I have a bone to pick with the whole like technology thing? Because I feel like too much of technology is created just because we can, not because it solves a human problem, makes a human's life any better or any easier. And like, isn't that fundamentally the problem with technology?
Well, I sometimes like to say, Amelia, it's funny. I find myself about weekly looking a senior C-suite member or board type in the face and saying, take it from a geek like me, tech comes last.
Okay.
I had an anthropology professor years ago. He said, technology is just a puffy-chested 4-syllable synonym for tool.
Puffy-chested 4-syllable synonym for tool.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And what he meant was that humans have been making tools from the jump. 2.5 million years ago, we sharpened stone flakes to speed up the time it took to procure and prepare dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It was a hack to free our time for higher order pursuits. Like what? Well, 5,000 years ago, the Sumerians cook up the first written language.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hack for what? Higher order pursuits. The printing press, the PC, the World Wide Web, and now AI. To me, Amelia, these aren't tools for tools' sake. They're tools to be used against problems worth solving.
Yeah.
And so for me as a techie, I'm up to my eyes in newfangledness all the time. Where I get excited is when I see people lead with need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best needs are always uniquely human.
So I totally agree with that. And then what you're making me thinking about is that it's just a tool. Fine. AI is just a tool. We could agree on that for human needs. But what about the pace of change and the fact that what used to take a generation now seems to happen over a weekend? And that's a lot as a human to absorb.
Well, there was one of the original sort of fathers of foresight studies, Alvin Toffler. He coined this term in the 70s called future shock. Mm-hmm. And it was speaking to your point, Amelia, like when is too much novelty too much?
Right.
And we've had mechanical muscles for 300 years, the steam engine. We've had mechanical memory for 30 years, World Wide Web.
Mm-hmm.
We've had less than 3 years to start coming to terms with mechanical minds. And I think the pace of change is literally accelerating,
mm-hmm.
right? Nerds like me call it Moore's Law or
Right.
whatnot. But I think in truth, just as we start norming to what's known, then somebody's dropping in some fresh news.
Right.
And it's a lot. And I have to imagine it's fatiguing for regular folks.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that makes it really hard is the fact that it's coming at a time when it's really hard to trust the new, right? We know that trust has been declining. While technology is sort of taking off, we also know that trust in humans, trust in each other is declining across just about every institution. And that when you introduce this newfangledness that is just a tool, that trust drops even further. So I feel like we have this tension of we're being asked to change as humans even faster to catch up to the pace of technology change.
Part of what I think we're seeing together is this recognition that even innovators can gradually find themselves in the seat of the skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I see legacy systems that I helped build 20 years ago, you find yourself in this circle of life where you say, goodness, what used to be a white-hot innovation is now sort of a legacy thing in need of refurb.
Right.
It reminds me, Amelia, of Douglas Adams, the author. He had this line, he said, any technology that came out before you went to college was part of the natural order of things.
Right.
Any tech that came out during college was interesting and you could build a career out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that dropped after you graduated was unnatural and to be avoided.
Well, that's the whole, it requires behavioral change. And so I think about, again, AI as a tool, and I've got, some Gen Zers who live with me. I call them, my son and my daughter. And for them, they're using, ChatGPT and other AI tools every day, right? That is how they do their search. That is how they check their homework. And, to your point, that is normal for them. But for those of us, in the workplace or that it feels like it's not so much the AI that's scary. It's the fact that I might have to change how I do my work that's scary.
Orthodoxies. And it creeps up on even the best intended of us, right? The ways of working change and it feels unnatural. And I guess it really gets me thinking, how are you experiencing all of this at work right now? How are you navigating this change, Amelia, yourself professionally?
Well, that's a pretty big question. So I feel like that's something we should also ask to our audience to acknowledge that while you and I can opine on what does it mean to experience the pace of change, we'd love to hear from all of you. So please add into the comments your perspectives on AI and the pace of change and the impact on humanity.